This is December 30th, 2018. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and I've cut some of the larger leaves off these Swiss Chards. What I don't do is I need to trim these off right here. Hopefully you can see that. I'm trimming these longer shafts off. And when you harvest Swiss Chard, you want to actually cut these stems off, but I get lazy and I don't do that. And you need to trim them down so you don't get rot around them and kill the plant. And when you're actually harvesting Swiss Chard, you want to go for the outer leaves. So in this case, I would go for these leaves out here and leave the inner ones, because the inner ones will keep popping up and growing for you. But one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to leave these stems out. You want to make sure you cut them off because you really don't need them. Of course, I did a pretty big harvest on the Swiss Chard because the leaves I harvested were about 4 or 5 inches long. And so that's what I'm doing right here is I'm actually trimming these off now, because when I first grabbed these out of the garden when it got really cold, because I didn't want them to die on me, which they probably still be around, but they wouldn't be growing. I noticed it's been down in the 20s, high 20s so far this year, and I noticed that the only thing that's really surviving is the red cabbage, which is not doing so hot, and then the Brussels sprouts are still alive. So it's amazing. You can take a lot of cold before they start dying on you. And since we don't really get below 20 or something here, I'm just going to leave them in and see how they do next spring, because I think they'll survive that long. They've been grown. Actually, one's been growing a little bit. Surprised the hell out of me. So what I plan on doing here is I plan on taking these out of this large pot, because it was kind of like in panic mode. I wanted to get these things out of the ground before they froze, and I thought they were free, so I went and grabbed them as fast as I could and put them in any container I could. I want to put them more in a flat tray because they really don't need these great big containers. So what I'm going to do is I'll let the soil dry so I can just dig them out and place them in a pot here, and I can arrange these a lot better. These little things came with it, and I'm not sure what the hell they are, but they're not Swiss Chard. They don't smell like it, so they're not going with it. It's going to go into the compost. I'm just going to gently lift these out and replant them into just a regular 10 by 20 planter. And that's really, I want to be careful not to break the roots and everything else. And there we go. So just going to move them all and put a little dirt in there and get them packed in good. Not packed in really hard though, because if you do that, you're liable to that one's almost dead. I haven't watered them that much. This is the reason why I haven't watered them, is because I'm going to be doing this, and so I want to kind of get these things straightened out, more productive when the way they're set up. Because right now it's not really a good setting for the tray as far as growing these things, the Swiss Chard, and I'm really wasting a lot of shelf space on my little indoor greenhouse. And that's one thing you don't want to do in an indoor greenhouse, is waste shelf space, because if you do, you'll just waste grow lights that you need for other areas and more space that you could be using for your plants. So that, of course, is not the way that you want to manage your indoor greenhouse, especially if you have a limited space. Now, I probably could grow 10 by 20 in my den during the winter time, but mostly I use it for experimenting and for salads. And with that said, that's more important to me, is having those fresh salads that I grew myself that I can eat daily. So I plant plenty of microgreens for fresh salads. And I grow plenty of lettuce, spinach, Swiss chard. I'm going to knock some of the stuff off of this because it's just too big. I'll probably separate it. See, you got some the dry leaves there because I didn't harvest it in time, and then that got bad. And what I want to do is I want to snip that stuff off. It'll go back into the compost bin. And there's a few more things here. Generally, I want to bunch it up, not too much, enough that when it just keeps producing leaves. And see, a leaf like this, I'll cut off for a salad, or a leaf like this, I'll use in salads because they're still tender and mild, and they're not really cabbage-like. Now, Swiss chard is a Brassica, so it's a member of the cabbage and the. Well, that one really needs to trim. It's a member of the cabbage family, and which means like Brussels sprouts and cabbage and kobari and those other ones. So you see I'm freeing up a lot of dirt here that I can use them for something else. And I can get all these in the same tray and manage the water a lot better. Right now they're just, it's kind of hard to get these things to, it's all over the place, and it was just a thing there. I got really busy that day, and you know, clients wanted things, and so I had to get on with this and get this thing done. And I just went out there and grabbed them, and then I just kind of left them because I got lazy. Yes, I'm kind of lazy sometimes. I guess we all are. But now I'm going to repack them so they're more manageable and I can get more stuff on the shelf. Like I said, I don't know what these things are, but they're definitely not Swiss chard, so they don't go anywhere except for the compost bin. And of course these are growing out in the garden, so you can tend to get weeds, and now I'm kind of just doing three things at once here. I'm replanting these to condense them down so they're much easier to manage for me, and then I'm trimming them to get all the dead stuff off so they don't affect and kill the rest of my Swiss chard. Now you can grow Swiss chard, I think, forever, because I've done it in the past and just kept growing it and growing it and growing it, and it just doesn't die on you. As long as you don't let it get too tall and start flowering, it's not going to, those are just ridiculous. As long as you don't let it start grow out to where it starts to flower, it'll just keep growing the leaves and from the interior. You just keep snipping them off and keep eating them. I mean, it's better than spinach when it comes to that. If you can eat them when they're small, they taste pretty good. They get bigger, they get a little bit bitter, and I don't really like them when they get like that. So yeah, that's Swiss chard. Now this is the one I have here. Is these are called the rainbows, the rainbow Swiss chard, and the heirloom seed type. So that means they're natural, and they come in 3 different colors, which I like because it colors your food a little bit. And so they're white, yellow, and red. It's really cool, in my opinion. So we're going to have some extra space here. You see, I just got this down to a 10 by 20 tray, and I got some extra space here. So what am I going to do? Well, you know what I'm going to do? This back end right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant some more Swiss chard, which I should have grabbed the seeds for. And if you haven't noticed, during the video I'm going to put up a picture of all the seeds I have. Now, if you had to grow food, your own food, because the food chain went down and you needed to survive off your garden, well, that's great. No, just grow a garden. Yeah, well, where's your seeds? Okay, if distribution shuts down, there's no more trucking because say we have something like an AMP. Say that China decides to hit us with an AMP, or North Korea, or something gets nuked and the power goes down. What are you going to do then? There's going to be no gas, no food deliveries. You're out of luck. They're not going to deliver your seeds either. So if they're not going to deliver seeds, you're not going to be growing anything unless you already have some. So I highly suggest that you get a good collection of seeds where you could actually grow a garden on a half an acre. Because you might need it someday. What if the government instabilities? What if the governments go down? Well, governments go down, and there's civil war. There's a lot of people talking about this gun confiscation now. I'm not going to get political on this. I'm just going to say that what if something does go down? Are you going to, and there's no food production. Farms are all seized, or they're not growing anything. You know, the farmers don't grow with a lot of heirloom seeds. They grow with the stuff from Monsanto. And that stuff is not something you can grow again. Just let it go to seed and grow it again. It won't grow the same plant. So I always tell people it's better to get an heirloom seeds. That means non-GMO or genetically modified organism. And so there you go. Now this dirt right here is going to be dumped into my dirt bin that I keep, and you can't see it right now, but so I repack this. I'm going to water this up nice. I'm not going to overwater it. And what this will do is this will condense down my Swiss chard, make it more manageable. And on this end, I'm going to go ahead and plant some more rainbow Swiss chard. But I won't show that because it's obvious. I'll just basically poke a hole with my fingers in areas that I want it. And I'll plant a seed or two. And I'll just start growing Swiss chard there. It won't be a problem to go ahead and keep reseeding this if I need to and keep growing it. So you could see the insides right here of the leaves. This leaf right here is a little chopped off, so I'm probably just going to go ahead and snip that guy right there. Throw that in there with the compost. This is all these little long leads. I'm just going to get rid of them because they're not doing any good except for getting in the way when I'm trying to cut other leaves. And I think that's kind of important, is you keep this manageable so that it's easy to harvest whenever you want to harvest. You can see right here, all this stuff right here just doesn't need to be there. It's just dead weight. And you can get, I just use a pair of little scissors that I got from my knife set. I mean, they're pretty nice. They're sharp. They do a good job of cutting. They're easy to harvest with. And you can see where some of this stuff's just, you know, the stems are dead. And you don't want to keep it on there. So this is how I like to manage my Swiss chard. And I'll harvest it the same way. I don't cut the stem because I don't want the stem on my salad. I know. Doesn't sound good, right? See, like a big old, this is one of the original leaves, okay? And that is just going to go. Because that's gross, nobody's going to eat it. I'm going to eat stuff like this size, baby Swiss chard. That's one of my favorites for salads. Along with butter leaf lettuce, ruby lettuce, and mixed greens. Mixed greens, I grow those in microgreens, and then I just cut a whole bunch of them off. I'll cut a tray like this off for me and my daughter, about a third of the tray. And then I just let them sit there and they keep growing back also. So you can actually grow microgreens and you don't have to harvest the whole dang plant like I've seen people do. You can just cut it to a certain point and then just let it grow back. Because it does grow back. A lot of it does anyhow. So hope you enjoyed the video, and I'm just replanting these and I'm trimming these down, and then the leaves will come out of the center. You see right here out of the center? So I don't need this stem anymore. So it's just really not necessary to keep it on the plant. All it does is it just provides a way for it to rot, and then your plant gets sick. If you want the plants to keep healthy, you just cut these stems out so they don't have a bunch of rot around them. Otherwise you're going to have problems. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed that, and I'm going to continue to trim this, and then I'll water it, and then I'll plant some more Swiss chard right here in this area right here, so that I'll get more Swiss chard growth out of this. And obviously I put a tarp down because I'm kind of messy.